There's never a stance where we can do too much outreach. We need to do more and not less when it comes to community engagement. I'm Adrian S. Taylor, the lead pastor of the Spring Hill Church. The Church Has Left the Building is our opportunity to emphasize our community connection. So we believe in being a church that is not only interested in gathering together inside the building, but also figuring out how we can have impact in the community around us. One of the challenges that we see in many faith groups today is that they become too inwardly focused and they forget about the world and the community around them. And so we want to make a conscientious effort to celebrate what we do all throughout the year. We are a church that is in the community and of the community, and we are always doing something to support our neighbors, friends, and community members. But the Church Has Left the Building is an event that we use to express that in a big way, and we're hoping to continue to grow the effort to emphasize that we are a church that believes in community, and our faith pushes us to move forward with community. It was actually the Church Has Left the Building was formed actually serendipitously. It was because we were going to celebrate a missions day and have another church join us, but I didn't want it to be just another day and another celebration of another church service. So we decided that we'd do something different. And so on that particular year, we decided that rather than having worship inside the building, that we would go out and be the church rather than simply come to church. And so I think it was 2013 or 2014, we came up with the idea to use a model that had been used in other places, and that was to just go outside and touch as many people as we could, and then to come back later on that afternoon and report in and celebrate the accomplishments for the day. The event continues to expand, so we are now moving towards looking at multiple days rather than just one day, looking at expanding it throughout the month. Initially, it was to simply go into a couple of neighborhoods and nursing homes. Now we are expanding throughout the region, and the next iteration of the Church Has Left the Building will also be to look at how we include other faith groups along with us, other churches that are a part of our work, involve them in the effort, and also to look at how we can add an additional online component to it. After COVID-19 shifted so many things in our world, now we're looking at ways that we can do things in a hybrid consistently and continually. And then also the Church Has Left the Building impacted the way we looked at community impact work and engagement, so that again, it's not just one day, but it's an extension of a year-long effort that's a part of our strategic plan to touch the community in different ways beyond just what we do here on a Sunday morning. So we have never considered stopping. The Church Has Left the Building. We've considered ceasing and stopping some other things. I think the only thing that would stop us from doing the Church Has Left the Building is one, a directional change of leadership. So if I'm no longer the lead pastor of the church and another lead pastor decides it's not a worthwhile exploit, then or a worthwhile activity or part of our work, then that will be the change. But as long as I serve as lead pastor, I don't see anything that would stop our work. Even COVID-19 didn't stop our work; it just changed our work. And so going forward, we'll have to be more thoughtful about how do we do it in a new world environment. So the pandemic, COVID-19, has been a learning experience for everyone. Literally, my colleagues and I talk about the fact that there is not a pastor today or a church leader today that has ever led through a pandemic. And while there are a lot of people that have a lot of opinions and they have a lot of very strong positions on how things should be handled, the reality is this is a very complex and dynamic issue. So the Church Has Left the Building is just added on to the mix of a very complicated issue. So how has the Church Has Left the Building morphed or changed? So we will have to, going forward, look at more micro ways rather than macro ways, meaning rather than going out in large groups, how do we activate people in their individual ways? And then also, how do we leverage technology to do the work? And, how do we accomplish the work without so much human interaction, face to face, but still do it in a large volume? So that's really how it's changed. At the end of the day, we want two things. We want, one, for there to be more baptisms from people coming to know the Lord Jesus Christ. And then secondly, we want more mature believers. So one of the things that we are confident about, and that is if we share the message of Christ and share the love of Christ without necessarily trying to push and prod people and drag them to church, but if we just share the fact that people, love God and we love each other, that's enough that will cause people to want to draw close and learn more and to become a part of the Lord's church. I think many church and faith groups get it wrong in that we feel like we got to browbeat people or we got to, intimidate or shame people into being a part of the faith. But if we really just live our faith in the way that Christ told us to do it, by showing love, then it'll bring people in. But also, secondly, I believe that sadly, we've gotten a lot more lackadaisical about sharing our faith. And so I think if it motivates people and helps people to see that they can share their faith in a non-intimidating and a non-threatening way, and if more people do it, then they themselves will grow. So the best piece of advice that I've received as it relates to missional work and outreach, and that is do more. So there's never a stance where we can do too much outreach. So I'm working on a new workshop and working on a new presentation titled "The Church is a Battleship, Not a Cruise Ship." I think what we've done with our faith groups is that we've made them places and we've made them confines of comfort rather than places and communities of equipping, training, and motivating and encouraging one another to share our faith. And so the biggest advice that I ever received is that we need to do more and not less when it comes to community engagement.